Have you ever finished a long day feeling busy, yet unsure what truly moved forward? Some days are full of effort, full of motion, and still feel strangely empty at dusk. This is a quiet story about time and how it leaves its mark, not all at once, but little by little in places we often overlook. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support truly means a lot. Each morning, before the mist lifted from the rolling hills, Faye stepped out from her small wooden home and walked toward the orchard. The land stretched wide and gentle, with rows of trees following the slope of the countryside. She carried 2 wooden buckets, one knocking softly against the other with each step. Her pace was steady, practiced from many seasons of the same work. She always turned first toward the oldest trees. Their branches were heavy and generous, bending low with fruit that had ripened through long care. Apples lay scattered beneath them, some perfect, some bruised by the night wind. Faye bent down, gathered them one by one, and placed them into her bucket. The weight felt good in her hands. It felt like proof. She leaned her ladder against the trunk, climbed carefully, and trimmed the branches that crowded each other. She tied low limbs so they would not break. The work was familiar. Each movement followed the last without thought. When the basket filled, she paused only long enough to breathe before moving to the next tree. Above her, farther up the hill, the younger trees stood thin and quiet. Their branches reached unevenly toward the light. The soil around them was pale and dry. Faye saw them in passing, but did not stop. There would be time later, she told herself, once the harvest below was secure. By midday, the sun warmed the grass and insects stirred between leaves. Faye wiped her hands on her apron and lifted her full baskets. She walked the path toward the village storehouse, where others nodded as she passed. They noticed the size of the fruit, the shine of the skins. Their approval followed her like a soft wind at her back. When she returned to the orchard, she was tired. The buckets were empty again, waiting. She chose the same trees as before. The routine felt right. It felt useful. Days passed this way, then weeks. The pattern repeated itself with only small changes in weather and light. Faye rose early, worked low on the hill, and returned home as the sky dimmed. The younger trees waited through sun and wind untouched. As summer deepened, the fruit below grew heavier. The branches bent farther, and Faye spent longer hours supporting them. Some mornings she arrived to find apples bruised on the ground. She gathered them anyway, though fewer could be kept. She tied the branches more tightly, careful but hurried. The work began to ask more of her. What once took a short morning now stretched into the afternoon. Her hands grew rough, her shoulders ached. Still, she stayed with the same trees, believing effort alone would be enough. When rain finally came, it fell hard and fast, darkening the soil and running downhill. Faye stood beneath the leaves, listening. Water pooled higher up the slope near the younger trees. For a moment, she watched the rain soak ground that had long been dry. Then she turned back to her ladder. Autumn arrived quietly. Leaves curled and fell. Blossoms were fewer than the year before, though Faye did not notice at first. She worked longer to make up for it. The baskets filled more slowly now. She told herself it was only the season. Winter stripped the orchard bare. Faye spent her days clearing fallen limbs and repairing ties. The young trees stood exposed to the wind, leaning where no hand had guided them. She passed them with her tools and kept walking. When spring returned, it came unevenly. Some trees bloomed late, others not at all. The orchard felt thinner, as if space had opened where fullness once lived. One morning, Faye walked uphill without planning to. Her boots pressed into softer ground. She stopped beside a young tree and placed her hand on its trunk. It shifted under her touch. The soil was loose, untouched by care. She knelt and pressed the earth down slowly, saying nothing. That day, she carried water uphill. The climb was harder. The buckets felt heavier than they ever had below. She poured carefully at the base of one tree, then tied a branch that had grown crooked. The knot was clumsy. Her hands were unpracticed. She stopped before the row was finished. The next morning, she returned to the old trees first, as always, but she left earlier than usual. She climbed the hill again and watered 2 young trees instead of 1. The day after that, she reached 3. Some days she forgot. Some days the work below demanded her strength and she did not climb at all. But the action returned more often than it disappeared. Carry water, press soil, tie branches, slowly, without ceremony. The changes were not sudden. Leaves thickened almost unnoticed, trunks straightened a little at a time. Faye's path through the orchard widened, worn by new footsteps. The old trees bore slightly less fruit, but they stood without breaking. The young trees began to hold their own shape. By late summer, Faye's baskets were lighter, but more even. Her days felt different, not easier, but steadier. She no longer measured her work by fullness alone. One evening, with no one watching, she stood between the rows as the light faded. The orchard was quiet and balanced. Old and young trees shared the hill, each shaped by the care given over time. Faye picked up her buckets and walked home slowly, knowing the work would return with the morning and that what grew tomorrow would depend on what she chose to tend today. In our own days, time passes much like that orchard. What we return to again and again grows strong, while what we delay waits in silence. Change does not arrive through one long effort, but through small acts repeated, even when they feel heavy, even when no one sees. What part of the story stayed with you? Comment it below. Thanks for watching.